Welcome to KR Films Entertainment Channel. The active nature with which people were interested in knowing my take on this spin I quickly acknowledged and understood that the emotions that an all-time high regarding their topics that this bin focuses on the movie The Catalyst read addicted most of the posts and comes at a time where political, cultural and religious discourse to be its have become quite common through films. This is like the most people segregating even to viewer as left-wing or right-wing depending on the phone that they love or hate irrespective of the current environment. I went in for this phone with a clean slate and trying to understand whether it effectively is a gruesome and disturbing story of three women being converted to Islam, a calculated indoctrination to extremism so that the individuals can be used by ISIS for that. At least activities. The film is loosely based on the events that occurred in the life of New Misha, her alias being Fatima, who was one of the four girls who traveled Afghanistan between 2016 and 2018 and is currently languishing and have gone deal with a child. The film focuses on three women who join us in college and slowly and steadily come under the influence of Osifai played best. Baloni, a radical Muslim who teaches them that the only true purpose of life is to embrace Islam. How this relationship that starts presumably with friendship transitions to become a brainwashing and a horrible consequences that the girls have to face forms the storyline of The Catalyst. Already is the movie does focus on Betty sensitive subjects and I'm sure the comments section is going to be fitted with a pin. And probably accusations as well. I'm going to focus on several aspects of the storyline and you will to chime in with your thoughts regarding the movie. One is immediately introduced to a dash out of my selenium only Krishnan as he is recounting what exactly happened to her from the time that she got admission in nursing college or dies, an actor who has always been a hit and miss regarding how performances as being these were the in movies like 1920 and Hasi the Pussy, but overdoing most of her performances in films and CDs like Bypass Reward and But the Button You're Hung Up. She really does train the spam in order for us to empathize with that anguish, but I feel like the drama this phone would have been further heightened and communicated with even more conviction if it had a motorcade. Will lead actor or expressive eyes do a lot of their talking, but a Hindi with a blank of the money Allah Maxine seemed extremely forced rather than organic. What's even worse is that Shaleen he has a chaotic is portrayed to be the most blissfully unaware guy to does not even have basic knowledge about things that are ending up, and more on that later. I want to mention one thing that has been floating around regarding this film and daddies, the exaggerated number of petty 2000 girls been converted and joining ISIS, and this number has been the biggest point of debate on was being used as a center point and argument for those who oppose the film, and while the number has presumably been removed from the trailer and amigos have stuck to the case of the three women that the movie focuses on, this is a bit confusing as the maker still present the number 32,000 and more in the concluding moments of the film. It still does not deny the fact that the existence of conversions aimed at extremism still exists. The problem was definitely exaggerated by the makers for shock value, and the U-turn has only happened due to the valid argument people post against it, but that cannot be the sole reason. By your belief that the problem that the movie focuses on simply does not exist, because that would be living in denial. A debate got so obsessed with the number that people forgot that some other trauma showcased in the film is real people. I have to be honest, from a screenplay in visual standpoint the movie's as rudimentary as it can get. From a filmmaking point of view, the performances of the supporting cast are mediocre at best in my opinion. You'll get that Bihani is the must and out the most convincingly portraying her frustration with the consecutive and pressurizing lectures that ossified gives a speech in the existing problems of convergence is also exceptionally performed. The cost of extremist Muslims dead off this and those who eat out on the journey barely leave an impression, and so the those in storytelling in chronological order is extremely majority. And I feel the biggest issue of the film, or one starts to know the intention of the filmmakers, is the rating making. One wondered as the in ancient to tell the story of these girls so that people are aware of it, so that people get educated about it, to extract the reaction from the public with heat wave dialogues. I'll explain this a little further. The dialogues of the film do not describe the circumstances that the characters are undergoing, but put away the commentary on not only the state of emergency that get allies in like to provide inflammatory lanes on several religions, making me think it's in ancient was only to hit a nerve with an already be emotionally charged audience. One of the extremists' leaders tells his comrades Jo com or ends, but the would I toward gay hand war ISIS boot are getting get so far by trying to influence the Hindu girls, belittles all the gods, seeing what kind of a god is it on that he lets his wife get a duck and needs the help of an entire VA. Have seen on T belittles Krishna in seeing how did you got lastly lotter top I had the madaba go on. All of this is presented for shock value and it becomes an overkill of wanting to not only brainwash the characters in the phone but the audience sitting in the theater. Do you enter the nursing college and it has freakish me slogans and celebrates Osama bin Laden get allies presented as a state that is in dire need of help while the problems with conversion as an ongoing reality get a less described as a time bomb. A better were hit by Charlie Dio say this is where it got ugly. Shaleen May and her name need almost becomes a laughable DC concepts of plain before eating and the concept of have one in hell or something she is not privy to. Even a non-practicing Hindu will tell you the basics of prayers and how one or two once for their sins, and red dialogue of Osify is presented with a scary background music and the sound effects or whips to further enhance the point of an evil in ancients, adding the those deal burn to death if they don't follow a lot of amphetamines and met circulated like toffees, and the shifted the girl's fascination for Islam comes so abruptly it almost seems like the drugs are doing the conversion were destroyed. Regarding the film and what it convincingly does is that it is definitely not meant for the faint-hearted. The atrocities committed towards the girls is unbearable to sit through, and I understand why the film has gotten to pick good at the dialogues further enhanced the point that again makes you think why the act itself was not disturbing enough for the audience. A man, a girl, and else her way doing be acted. This is not a scene in Islam. A hand of a woman is cut off a nice as line because she wore lipstick. So this film is definitely not for the squeamish and easily disturbed. While the trauma other the women in the bedtime, the boys absolutely awful. I wish that their dialogues represented that individual stories better and peaking the shape of what's up forwards in groups that obviously have a problem with other religions, or the blushing and seeing how many bodies eat to stick a bulimic a bullet. Kentucky her and good time to lean mixing cocaine with weed to meet a joint. Just some of the odd moments in this film. The three women are what they underwent as they were brainwashed and indoctrinated into extremism in Islam was absolutely horrifying. Some of the sequences of this phone were painful to sit through while the performances and screened be a mediocre at best. I wished for the dialogues to cater to the three women's stories and not for the lines to be filled with blasphemous general statements that will charge the audience into believing all people have a particular religion are the same. Didn't want to mention the extremist elements being the problem is missing, and a little detailing for the same would have been ideal. The catalyst Audi is a heartbreaking ill ad in my opinion, just deserve better story. Thanks for watching.